In the second part of this section, they're talking about like all of the different exceptions to the rules that are like the iambic, trochaic, dactylic, anapestic. Uh, and so these exceptions are when the syllables don't exactly follow the pattern, and that's okay. But just kind of know that they each have their own little names. In the example, go and catch a falling star, it doesn't exactly follow that trochaic meter because it cuts that last foot short. Some other things that you might see is that instead of cutting it short, maybe you have two accented syllables in a row, and that's called spondy. Or if there are two unaccented syllables in a row, that's called pyrrhic. It's a pyrrhic foot. And these are just substitutes. So when you would normally have something that's iambic, uh, they would substitute that with two of the same, either spondy, which are two of the accented, or pyrrhic, which are two of the unaccented. So we have an example here, and this starts with one two-syllable chunk that's iambic, but the rest of it is anapestic. So believe, yeah, believe me if all those endearing young charms which I gaze on so fondly today. The rest of it follows that anapestic feel, even though it's missing that first syllable. But what we're looking at here with all of these little curve signs, which is called a breve, or the accent marks, that's called a scansion, or I may not be pronouncing it right, but the idea is that you're marking up a poem to show where the emphasized syllables are and where the unemphasized syllables are. And it makes it easier to tell what the meter is, or what the main um, or the dominant meter is. So they have these examples here where if I'm looking, let's see, it little profits that an idle king by this still hearth among these barren crags, matched with an aged wife, I meet and dole unequal laws into a savage race that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. Um, in this case, I mean, it looks really funky and it can be a little bit hard to tell. But for the most part, we've got two syllables in each beat where the second one is getting, or in each foot where the second syllable is getting the emphasis, even though there's a couple of things in there that don't follow that rule. One last thing to note is that you may see, instead of iambic, you may see iamb, or trochaic, you see trochee, or spondaic, you see the spondee. All of these times where you're seeing it written a slightly different way, but you're seeing that same kind of root word. It's just when they're referring to one iambic foot or one spondaic foot. So if I have one iambic foot, that's an iamb. If I have one spondaic foot, that's a spondee. If I have one trochaic foot, that's a trondee. So just kind of know that they mean the same thing anytime you see them.